Hi, I'm Danny,
I'm Sam.
and this is
Business in a Brew. We'll be pouring over business stories,
and talking about things that interest us in the world of business.
so we'd like you to just take a few minutes out, listen.
Yeah, we'd love it if you join our conversation with us. Hello.
Hi. What are you gonna?
I'm going to talk to you about luxury brands,
Oh, okay.
and specifically
But
Dior.
You're not really a luxury brand person.
No, I
are
am
you?
not, but I would quite like a Dior. Well, I don't now, but I would have
You mean
quite
not now
liked a
because of
Dior.
this? Oh no. Oh God.
But it's okay.
What are you going to expose?
You're also not a luxury bag person, so it's not going to bother you one way or the other.
No.
In fact, it's actually probably just going to back up everything you think already. Because I don't think you're that much of a fan of that kind of stuff,
God,
are
I'm a
you?
bit of a cynic, aren't I?
You are a little
Yes,
bit, yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Do
yeah.
you think brand names are important?
They signify to me quality if I have associated myself with that brand. But it doesn't mean to say I want to go and display that brand all over the place.
So, like, you buy a really nice watch because of the quality of the manufacture.
Yeah, because I know of its reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's about quality workmanship and long life. Because
Yes.
I wear my clothes, for example, until they literally drop off me. So I want something that is going to last,
Okay.
not something.
Not a
I'm gonna
fast fashion person.
No, not something that's going to fall apart.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, in summer 2024, so not that long ago, Italy's
Summer. There's actual summer, was there?
There was a summer, but I think it lasted about 3 days. In the vaguely short summary period, 2024, Italy's competition authority reported that 2 of the luxury brands based out of Italy, Dior and Armani, had misled consumers regarding their production processes.
Right.
So they're both known to be, when you think about it, you think they are Italian brands, so they are luxury,
Yep.
high-end Italian manufacturer brands.
Yeah.
They are not.
What do you mean?
Well, Italy's competition
Well,
authority.
the brand is originally from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But essentially, the words the competition authority used was that they and many others were selling made in Italy labels at made in China prices. Yeah. So, like most things these days, they're not manufactured where you think.
So hang on, not made in Italy products cited as products that were actually made in China but were selling at Italian-made prices.
It's a badly constructed sentence in terms of grammar.
But Chinese-made prices. So they were manufacturing at Chinese-made prices, or they weren't selling at Chinese-made prices.
No, they weren't
Right,
selling, no.
Got it.
So, yeah, manufacturing made in Italy labels. Yeah, anyway.
Right.
So, obviously.
Because even just one tiny part of a thing that's constructed can
100%,
be. So I've got a little thing for Italian sunglasses.
Yes. Even though you've only got one face, how many pairs of sunglasses can you wear?
Well, yeah, different moods, you know. But on 2 of them, they both say they're different brands, and they both say handmade in Italy. But the handmade part of it, all the components are probably made somewhere else,
but put together
maybe
in
assembled in Italy.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't have to have done much of it to say that.
Right.
So I'll go back to the original report where they were misleading consumers regarding their production processes. They said they were making untrue statements about their ethics and social responsibility through their working conditions. So they had Chinese-owned subcontractors with negligent working practices, who were workers forced to sleep in the factories and be available 24/7 so they could have seamless day and night production. Just horrible.
Really?
The safety devices on equipment were removed to allow for faster working and constant use of illegal immigrants. But it brought to light some very questionable business practices, because a Dior bag was being made for $57
Right.
and sold for $2,800. That is a 48 times markup.
Mm-hmm.
That is not nice business practice. It's not illegal.
But to a degree.
Something's only worth what you're willing to pay for it.
Well, yeah, but you look at any luxury goods, you know, how much really, you know,
you're expecting.
I'm not saying it's right, but you're associating with the brand.
Potentially, but you said yourself.
You don't care its provenance.
And that's the thing. That's back to my question of how important are brand names. You said yourself you'd buy into, say, a really expensive watch because you know about the quality of production. How would you feel if it was actually banged together by a bunch?
But the truth is, how would I know?
Well,
how would I know what its production origination was?
So how can you say you're buying it because of the quality?
Swiss made, for example. How would I actually know that it was certified made in Switzerland? But what you're actually saying is you're not buying a brand name for the quality. You're buying a brand name for the perception of the quality, which is something very different. It can be.
But I think when this came to light, it did put a few people off. They're like, why am I paying $3,000 for a bag that cost you $50? But again, things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. And if people are willing to have a Dior bag for $3,000 because it makes them feel special or because it makes them feel better than someone else.
What the trade price is on one of those things?
I don't know. Well, they don't tend to wholesale, do they? They only sell through their own outlets generally.
Oh, do they? Right.
Generally speaking, most luxury brands will only sell through their own outlets.
But they've got a whole lifestyle thing though. They've got
it is a lifestyle brand, but it's just.
But the amount of expense also that they incur along the way, you know.
Yeah.
I'm saying about boutique stores.
Yeah.
People they
bricks
employ,
and mortar and
all of that. Yeah. You know, and I get that, and they're in prime locations.
It's not necessarily the markup that's unethical. I just think it's people's. If you go back to, there was a consumerintelligence.com report that said 61% of Britons say that ethics are. I don't know why I said it like that. Britons. I don't know. Say that ethics are quite or very important, with 52% saying that environmental, social, and governance values are important to them.
Right, this is random consumers.
These are random consumers. Yeah. That can't be true because brands like Dior aren't then affected. So you say that might be true, but then when it actually comes to it, I'm still happy to pay £3,000 for a bag made by people who are sleeping on the floor.
Like it maybe was a leading question.
Well, I think it might have been. I mean, despite those, you're saying over half the people think that ethics are important, but Dior still saw in the last part of 2024 growth tracking at 1%.
Yes, but that's not for the UK though, is it?
No, that's for the entire world.
But you think it's a symbol. It's a symbol. It's a Western status symbol, and the Western status symbols are going absolutely bonkers in other parts of the world. You know, as the developing world acquires more money, the middle class is constantly sought by pretty much everyone on the planet. That consumption then leads to conspicuous wealth, and items like that become.
Everyone talks about ethics being important, and everyone talks about provenance being important, and everyone talks about
ethics are important to people, Britons.
Well, you can't tell me that statistically the rest of the world is vastly different. I mean, yes, all right, I haven't got a breakdown by country.
I think that would be an interesting one to go and look at, but I don't think you'd find the information because I don't think those kinds of things are actually even a consideration in a developing nation or in a
different type of note. And I just think it's really interesting that...
Or in a nation where conspicuous wealth is everything.
If everyone just kind of looked at it and went, Dior, they're using sweatshops. I mean, all right. I still want my Dior bag.
Yeah.
There will be some people who are affected by the story. I want my Dior bag
because I've wanted one for 10 years and only now can I afford to buy one, so I'm going to go and buy 3.
Yeah.
I don't care where it comes from.
And
and my friend's got one.
Realistically... And yes, you're right, I don't know statistically whether it's 61% of the entire world actually believe that ethics are important, but I am interested by the fact that people will overtly say that ethics are important. They will overtly say that green issues are important to them, but the reality is, when it comes to a brand name or a status symbol or a whatever else, how important is it?
Which is almost then those people, maybe they have a double standard. So the double standard could be, let's say, those that maybe said that they voted one way, but actually voted.
I'm not going to employ slave labour in my house to do my cleaning, but I'll have a Dior bag. Where's the
putting that out to agency basically?
Yeah, but all these companies, they spend so much time doing all this, and I'm not saying Dior are greenwashing, to be fair, but I'm not saying that everyone's greenwashing.
Are they greenwashing though?
Well, I think the way they talked about their ethics.
Technically greenwashing.
No,
greenwashing is about the environment.
It's more misleading. All companies put so much thought at the moment into values and ethics and sustainability and all that. When the consumers, realistically, do they care that much?
Well, there's a debate.
That's my question. I just found it really interesting. it hasn't put me off Dior, and it should, because I feel like it should.
Yeah. But there does seem to be a willful, in my opinion, attraction, regardless of the manufacturing. It's attraction of the same target audience.
Yes.
Or that kind of person. So manufacturing is going to be forever sought out as the cheapest possible manufacturing.
100%, because that's the way that you can make the most profit.
Provided the quality's there.
Yes.
But there's also, off the back of it, is the fraud side. And I'm not saying that Dior are fraudulent. What I'm saying is there's the copying.
Oh, like when you get fake bags in Tenerife.
The fake bags, yeah. And fake bags made by companies.
I'd be interested to know quality-wise how different they are.
Yeah. But I'm not saying this is their case, but there are cases where goods are manufactured by factories that already produce under license one brand. I remember there was a jeans brand that did that.
Yeah.
The same factory was producing what would technically be a grey import.
Yeah.
It was meant for a different market, bought at a fraction of the price that you would buy in the UK. It's the same product made by the same factory.
They did the same with nappies.
But it was for a different consumer.
I think it was a well-known nappies brand was manufactured on the same line as an own brand. And like the top price of the proprietary brand versus the own brand, there was like a step down. So as long as you knew which one you were buying, you can get exactly the same product.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it going on because manufacturing facilities are set up to do something.
It's a bit like when you right. This might sound tenuous. You'd have heard of dark kitchens.
Dark kitchens. Like when I don't turn the light on.
Right. This is where a kitchen. Yeah. A kitchen that serves the Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eats market.
Yes. Yeah.
The kitchen space and the warehouse that it's sat in. Is not at street level. Yeah. You're getting your food made in a remote factory. It's just outside the town limits, let's say, but it is then being produced on a larger scale. Those kitchens are basically owned, if you like, by one company who is then making those
like a world buffet with lots of different food in it.
Correct, but for delivery. Yeah. Now I've never seen one. I've never been up close to one, but I've seen the reports about it.
Yeah.
And it's almost, you've got this tendency towards a factory producing goods at a high quality. But there is nothing to stop that factory producing for several different brands.
No, absolutely not.
So one kitchen producing for several different restaurants.
And in a way, you can't fault the brand at the end for saying, well, I can get it for $57.
Exactly. Yeah.
And at the same time, you can't fault the factory for working with 4 different people.
But it's that fight. Well, if I can get it made for $57, that's my profit right there.
Yeah.
And actually, I deserve that profit because I've been doing this for how many decades. But at the same time, it kind of does get it away from the original intentions of the brand.
Yeah, I know. You kind of have this vision when it's Italian made that you've got a little old Italian lady sat there stitching by hand, and of course it's not
10,000 bags.
Well, yeah, and of course it's not going to be like that.
Fingers.
It's not going to be like that.
No.
But that's kind of what you get in your head. You want that authenticity. You want that provenance. You want that.
Yeah. Now the difference between, let's say, a designer bag of 2,000 to 3,000. And the designer bag that is 30 to 40,000.
Yes, I'd expect quite a lot more of my 30 to 40,000
for
my remortgaged house.
Now, that isn't going to be made in one of those remote factories.
Well, I'd like to think not.
Yes.
Didn't look too deeply into that. That might put me off everything. I'll never go shopping again. Yeah, I just think it's a really interesting how much ethics really matters to people.
Yeah, but what's the ethics of
manufacture, the ethics of value.
Versus
but also the whole sweatshop, making your people sleep on the floor. That's not very nice.
So have they been seen to? Excuse me.
Yes,
have they been seen to?
Yeah, they've brought in.
Well, I'm glad I asked because otherwise,
vertical. What is the wording? Vertical in-house manufacturing processes to work on centralising
vertical supply chain.
Yeah, rather than what they're doing at the moment.
Right.
But the Italian competition people said that because of the nature of Italian production and manufacturing for luxury brands, Italy is essentially 55% responsible for eradicating poor working practices within the luxury brand industry. It really does rely with them because so much luxury manufacturing is done out of Italy.
Right.
They are responsible for making the big moves that will change the ethics of manufacturing for luxury brands.
Wow. And I have been to Italy and seen manufacturing practices over there, and actually they have elements, of manufacturing areas and areas of industrial strength, if you like, very much like Germany. They'll have small businesses that do very, very specialised output of products that go around the world. One of the like Germany and Staedtler pencils, for example, they are absolutely the same as they were 80 years ago or whatever, and they're still almost manufactured in the same way, and they are absolutely known as a specialist for those pencils.
God, I wish people could see you doing that mime.
Right. And I visited a furniture manufacturer in Italy, and everything was handmade, beautifully handmade, and it was an industrial capacity. All right, it wasn't churning out tens of thousands a day,
no.
But these were beautifully made and incredibly. The design was one thing, but how they were made and how the individual components were sourced. You think the smaller the product, maybe the more specialised, and therefore the more able they are to cope with the quality.
Yeah, possibly.
So instead, chuck it out to China because they make things far quicker, far cheaper.
But you bear in mind, luxury has become more affordable to the masses.
Yeah, but that's the thing, the luxury side of it. Even the product is not being manufactured as a luxury good.
No, it's being manufactured as a...
It's being mass manufactured and sold as a luxury good, which kind of then calls into question those ethics.
There's too many.
But then again, let's say too many Dior bags or Armani bags on the street, and of course they lose their exclusivity.
Basic economics. Yeah.
So I'm sure that some of that price pointing has to be to stop that happening, cheapening the brand.
There's a lot of decisions that go into it. I'd still like a Dior bag, and I feel really guilty that I still want one.
Well, when I see you with one, then I'll just watch the look on your face as you try to explain yourself.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, that's my ethical debate for today.
Right, your guilty pleasure.
Right. It is my. Well, I haven't got it yet, but it will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Thanks so much for listening and being a part of today's episode.
If you like what you've heard, or if you feel there's something missing, or you want to ask any questions, please get in contact.
And if you love listening to us as much as we love talking to you, subscribe, download, leave us a review. All the love helps.
Thank you.